Good evening, this is BelGeode, and we are back with some more Aerofly FS2. And tonight, we are at Orbx's Vail Valley. This is Eagle County Airport in Aerofly FS2, of course. And tonight, we're going to be flying around in this bad boy right here. This is the FREEWARE Piper Cub, the PA-11 Cub Special. Yes, I did say that right. This is FREEWARE. The link, of course, will be in the video description down below, and it'll also appear in the credits. Of course, you can't link it from the credits, but you know how to get to the video description, so there you go. It is free. Now, the person who created this, I have a really difficult time with the name. I think it's Krzysk or something like that. But also one of the developers of IPACS, Jetpack, I believe is the name he goes by on the forums. He also helped to create the flight model. So, I have decided I want to test this puppy out by flying from here in Vail to one of my favorite places in Colorado that I've never been to, Aspen, Colorado. So, let's check the navigation screen and see where we're going. Okay, so in our handy-dandy navigation screen, you can see that we are at the very top center, right here in Vail, Eagle County. All right, so we're going to be taking off to the west on runway 25, and then we're going to follow the valley all the way to here. We're going to hang a sharp left, and we're going to pass Glenwood Springs. We're just going to fly over it. Now we're going to continue south, and then make a left and follow the valley all the way through to Aspen. And we'll be landing on runway 15 because you really don't want to try landing in the opposite direction, even in a Piper Cub. That might not be a good idea. All right, but I think that we are ready to go ahead and get this puppy started. You will notice that I put it in cold and dark. So we're going to do the full Piper Cub startup, which, granted, there's not a whole heck of a lot to a Piper Cub startup. So let's go get it done. Okay, we are back in the cockpit, and one thing that you will notice around this airport, there are moving vehicles. I didn't see too many moving people, but I know some of the Orbx airports, they do have moving people in there. This is our back seat. We could actually sit back there if we want, and actually if you're in a real Cub, chances are you're going to be sitting in the back seat anyway. So, we'll take a quick look back here. You can see there's a dude in the front. He's in my spot, however, so I'm going to be taking my spot back momentarily. And look, there's one of those moving vehicles that I was telling you about. We'll do our quick controls wipeout. And dude, I sincerely hope you missed my Cub. Yeah, I still got wings. Okay, we're good. All right, let's head back to the front seat, and then we'll go ahead and get this puppy started up. And then we will continue on our journey to Aspen. All right, now, one important thing that I do want to make you aware of. Since this plane, in real life, you actually have to hand turn the prop, you've got to do that here too. Now, you can't see it, but my mouse is actually on the prop, and it gives you the little icon so that you can make the turn. What the hell is with everybody getting so close to my aircraft? Sheesh. All right, let's go ahead and get the process started. So we'll turn the fuel on, and we'll get our magnetos set to both. There we go. We're going to need a little bit of priming, so we'll give it, what, 3, maybe 4 pumps here. 3, and one more for good measure. Okay, so 4 pumps. We'll crack the throttle open a little bit. We're going to lean out the window and go clear prop. And I'm going to attempt to spin it. No joy. Okay. Well, we still have gas in there, so I don't want to prime it anymore, otherwise we'll flood the engine. There we go. Whoa, 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 whoa. Completely forgot the parking brakes. Holy crap. Okay, IPACS, if you could make it so all the planes start with their parking brakes on, that would be great. Almost had an accident there. Okay. Alright, but we are good to go. And everything's looking good. This is the little HUD that we have, our helmet-mounted display, and you can see our flight plan there. It's not a very long flight plan. I'd say a grand total of about 50 miles or so. And it's going to count down as we get to each waypoint. It looks really cool in VR, let me tell you. I love it. Absolutely love it. Alright, I cannot see if we've got anything coming that way, but that van just went there, so I'm going to take my chances and we'll get going right now. So we'll get the parking brakes off, and we'll head for the runway. Runway 25 is our takeoff runway. See the little guys there. I'm going to show you some more of the Orbx airports. I'm sorry it's taken me so long to actually showcase the Orbx airports, but usually I have to try and put together a decent flight plan for the aircraft that I'm trying to use. And in the case of the Piper Cub, I really did not want to go too far, otherwise this might end up being a 2-hour video. As it is, you're probably looking at about an hour for us to take off and get to Aspen. But at least it'll be a very scenic journey, which, in my opinion, is the most important part of doing this anyway. Okay, we're using taxiway Alpha 2 here. That's technically where the threshold is. So I'm thinking this is going to be good for us. Let's push forward a little bit, just beyond the hold short line. I'm not going to do the traditional run-up and everything. There's kind of no point to it. And of course, there's no traffic coming out or going in or anything like that. I am, however, going to close the door, so there we go. Alright, everything looks to be buttoned up tight. Very nice, very nice. Alright, a quick outside look at the aircraft, and everything is kosher, so we're going to take the parking brakes off and give her a little bit of gas. It's been quite some time since I've actually flown a Piper Cub in any flight simulator, so this is going to be interesting to see how we can handle the light winds that are blowing. It's a bit of a crosswind. Alright, come on, baby. No, not that way. Go that way. No, too much that way. Okay, there we go. I think we got it. We'll gradually increase the throttle. I feel like she wants to go to the left. Yep, she's definitely going to the left. Alright, a bit more rudder. Bit more rudder. Okay, the tail wheel's up. Let's swing her back this way. Oh, what a hell of a takeoff. Alright, right there, and full power. Come on, baby, go airborne for me. 40 knots. 50 knots. Alright. There we go. And if you look off to the right side, you'll see some CH-47 Chinooks at this airport. They are based here. My absolute favorite helicopter. Kind of wish that we had one for Aerofly FS2. Heck, I wish we had one for X-Plane. From my understanding, there's one in the works. Also wish we had one for DCS as well. But we don't. So I guess I'll have to do some more prepared version 4 for you guys. And that way I can show off the Chinook that I do have in that particular sim. But it looks like we are good to go. I'm going to need to trim her up here, so let me let go of the stick and see how far she dips. Okay, not too shabby. We'll pull her up a bit. There we go. And I do need to trim a little bit to the right to compensate for torque. We're going to need to fly to the right anyway, so tell you what, let's go outside and see Orbx's handiwork in the city of Vail. Man, I don't know about you, but I don't think there's enough houses down there for this to constitute as a city, so I think I may stand corrected. I think this is actually the town of Vail. But regardless, everything that you just saw up there was created by Orbx and is included with their payware Eagle County scenery that we just took off from. So that, I think, is really awesome of them to have included that, because it actually does look like a neighborhood down there. You'll compare that with some of the other areas that we're going to pass through, which are part of the default IPACS scenery that, of course, comes with the Colorado DLC, which is FREEWARE, I will remind you. Yeah, you can see the edge of the neighborhood there, and of course all the textures that Orbx went and color matched and all of that. Of course, the big failing point with Aerofly FS2 is still the fact that none of the roadways are animated, if you will. By that, of course, I mean having traffic on them. I'm sure that's something that's being worked on. There is still a mod that I want to check out that does add like ground traffic and so on, but I think it's in a very limited area. I want to say in South Florida. If they can nail I-95 in rush hour traffic, then I will believe that they can pull this off. But here we are in Colorado, so we are going to spend more time outside rather than inside, because to be honest with you, I don't really have a whole hell of a lot to say about the area because I've never been there, but I do tend to fly over it a lot because, well, it's just peaceful. Okay, so getting to Glenwood Springs is going to be interesting because this valley naturally wants to go to the right, and we are going to need to go to the left. Let me check our altitude here. We are over 8,000. I don't really want to go much higher than that, so I'm going to trim us down a little bit more. Alright, let go of the stick, see what the nose does. We do have some thermals going and a little bit of turbulence, not much, but it might be enough to blow us up a little higher than I would like, so I'm going to trim us down some more. There we go. And we'll be stable roughly around 50 or 60 knots. I might keep it around 60. I just realized there's a discrepancy between the HUD and the actual airspeed indicator in the Cub. So I'm thinking the airspeed indicator is actually in miles per hour instead of knots. Yeah, I believe it is. Alright, so you can see we're kind of veering off to the right there. And like I said, that's because we're just basically following the valley. However, to the left, that's the turn that we're going to need to take to continue heading towards Glenwood Springs. It's going to get narrow, so even though I'm pulling us down a little bit, I'm still going to keep us above like 75 or 7,600 feet just to make sure we can go through the fattest part of that valley without actually going over the peaks or going too far down that we clip our own wings. That would end our trip really quickly, wouldn't it? Alright, that's it for the HUD for now. I'll pop that up every now and then. I know it's a little bit of an immersion breaker, especially for those of you who are watching this. But it does come in handy, especially in an aircraft like this or some of the other FREEWARE aircraft, which may be like older or vintage models that don't have a lot of the modern accoutrements like GPS and everything. So every now and then I do kind of like using the HUD because honestly, it helps to keep me safe, I guess you would say. Granted, if I were flying at night, this would be considerably more dangerous, but yeah, I'm not brave enough to do that just yet. Let's just say my virtual pilot's license only extends to daylight and fair weather flying. I'm not so sure about anything else. Below us is the mighty Colorado River. And let me just check our gas really quick. Just over 3/4 of a tank. Okay, we're doing good. We're getting great mileage. So yeah, the mighty Colorado River flows through this valley, and this is the same exact Colorado River that it will eventually end up in the Grand Canyon that helped to create that beautiful landscape over there. But you can see what it's done for Colorado. Pretty gorgeous stuff. I love that the clouds are just barely kissing the tops of the mountains there. That's also pretty cool. Alright, let's see what we got here for the engine. Everything is looking good. Yep, we are not overheating. This is very good. About 70 miles per hour right now, and our manifold pressures are 22 inches. Okay, this is the way to fly, folks. Seriously, you have to download this thing. If you are a user of Aerofly FS2, you have to download this free Piper Cub and just fly it. Pick a remote area of the world that's modeled and just hop in there and do some good old-fashioned stick and rudder action. Right now, I'm not even touching my joystick. I simply have my pedals being worked, and that's all it is. We're trimmed out just well enough that I can use only the rudder pedals to basically steer our course. If I want to increase altitude, I increase throttle. If I want to lower altitude, I lower throttle. It really doesn't get much better than this. This is the basics of flying. This is the skill that every single pilot, whether virtual or real life, should have down pat. This is real flying, folks. Make no bones about it. This is real flying. As we make our way to the more narrow parts of the Colorado River Gorge here, you're going to see that the turbulence is going to kick up a little bit and also a bit more thermals, but that's okay. We can handle that. According to our nifty little HSI down here, it looks like we're getting back on course. So pretty much we just need to follow this river in between these various ridges and peaks until we get to where we're going. It should open out considerably into the basin where Glenwood Springs is, and then of course we will know when we reach there to make that left turn and begin heading towards the south. But so far it looks like we are making some pretty decent time. According to the HUD, we've got a bit of a crosswind. It's only about 4 knots, but in a Piper Cub, I imagine you could feel that a little bit more than, you know, something bigger. Be that as it may, though, like I said, we have this thing perfectly trimmed out that pretty much all I have to do is just make slight movements with the pedals to pretty much point us in the right direction here. So I am not going to complain about this at all. And our altitude is stable around 7,600 feet, so we're just going to kind of keep it here and continue threading the needle through these valleys here until we eventually spit ourselves out over at Glenwood Springs. Alright, let's go back to the outside view for a moment here. Okay, we are almost to Glenwood Springs. Still got a little bit of a ways to go. I think we're going to need to make a slight right and then a slight left until we actually see the valley where it's at. But so far I'm really enjoying the trip, and I sincerely hope that you are as well. But yeah, this is what I love, man. This is what I love. This is one of the reasons why I guess Aerofly FS2 is like one of my guilty pleasures, if I can call it that. It's really not warranted to say it like that, but it's one of those things where, you know, I don't have any pressures. I just want to hop into an aircraft and just fly and just enjoy the scenery in VR. This is perfect for that. I can't wait to see what else they're going to come up with for this flight sim. I really have not been paying too close attention to their roadmap, so I don't know exactly what it is that they're working on right now. I'll have to head back to the forums at some point in time in the near future and just kind of check in and see if I can figure out where they're going from here. But I do know that they've got the whole Vulcan implementation nailed. Bolton in VR is absolutely perfect, and I think that both Laminar Research as well as Eagle Dynamics could probably learn a thing or two by seeing how IPACS was able to implement it with Aerofly FS2. Alright, now we are closing in on Glenwood Springs, which is so named because it is the home to a bunch of hot springs. It's a resort town. It also contains Glenwood Canyon and Glenwood Caverns, which are like ancient underground caves that tourists like to visit and so on and so forth. Me personally, I'm not a huge fan of caves, but I am a huge fan of flying over the terrain. So let me just do a quick navigation check here. Alright, looks like we're in the right spot. This is our left turn, and you can see just how much it opened up considerably. Wow, look at that. So we're going to be heading south here. And remember, I'm still controlling this thing only with the rudder pedals. I am not using the stick at all for this. But that's what I love about the Piper Cub. It's just so docile, and it'll do whatever you want. Short of like extreme aerobatics, of course. I really doubt you want to try doing that with the Piper Cub. You never know, though. She might at least oblige you with some of it. Okay, so this is probably going to be the longer leg of our journey here, because we're going to basically follow this valley past the airport, the Glenwood Springs Airport. And we're going to need to make a relatively hard left around that ridge way off in the distance there. You can see the red rocks on the left-hand side. That's the one I'm referring to. It's way down there. And then there should be a pretty fertile little valley that is going to head us towards Aspen and towards the Red Table VOR. Bear in mind, we are not going to go all the way to the Red Table VOR. Since we're basically below the mountain peaks, we don't really need to use it so much as a navigation aid. Not that we have anything in this cockpit to actually help us with VOR navigation. So we're going to do it the old-fashioned way. Now as we pass over Glenwood Springs, you'll notice off to the left-hand side, there's those red rocks there. That area is actually called Red Hill, surprisingly enough. Yep. And it's one of the unique geographical features that seems to be common here in Colorado. There are other parts of the U.S. that do also sport some red rocks. For example, if you watch the last X-Plane video that I put up, the one on the Vans RV-8A, pretty much the area that we took off from and the area that we landed in are covered with these red rocks. So that would be Sedona, Arizona, and Monument Valley in Utah. But it's really interesting to see how well they stand out here in Colorado. Now, just beyond the Red Hill is the town of Carbondale. That is where we're going to be making our left-hand turn. You can't really see too much from here because it's a little hazy out there. But it's actually just off to the left side there. At least that's the beginning of it. And then it just kind of winds around that hill. I do kind of like those meadows and everything that are above everything else. I think that looks really cool in this area. We're closing in on the edge of Red Hill where the bulk of Carbondale is. Let's do a quick navigation check here. Okay, we are almost there, and it says we're about, what is that, 2 miles, 2.8 miles from our turn. So yeah, we're doing pretty good. We're stable at around 7,500 feet and just about 61 knots. You can see I've got the engine set to about 80% throttle or 80% power. And she is purring like a kitten. I do have to say I like the sound that they gave this thing. This feels rather authentic. I don't know if they actually utilized any real Cub sounds to make this thing, but this kind of sounds like how I would expect a Piper Cub to sound. So good job there. You see a little golf course around here. It's amazing how people in Colorado can manage to fit golf courses in between these mountains. That's just awesome. Been a very long time since I've picked up a golf club. Thought about actually learning the sport and doing it maybe a little bit more than just as a hobby. But who has time anymore for any of that kind of stuff? Honestly, I have a lot more fun flying around. Alright, back to the front here. Let's check our gas. Oh yeah, we got plenty. We're not about to run out of gas anytime soon. It looks like we're still at just about 3/4 of a tank. This is good. This is very good. Alright, but here's the tip of the Red Hill, so we are going to need to make our left-hand turn, and we are kind of pitching up a little bit. So I'm going to lower our throttle just a touch as we come around the Red Hill. I would say we're about halfway through our journey now. We are heading to the unincorporated community of El Jebel, and once we reach there, we're going to be hanging a slight right, and we're going to go over places like Basalt. And then the fun begins trying to figure out the best approach to get into Aspen Pitkin Airport. Just to give you kind of a little bit of a heads up, this airport is notorious for being pretty dangerous to come into. You have the red table VOR, which I mentioned earlier, and that's typically what the larger aircraft will use to help them navigate. Which is all fine and dandy if you've got an aircraft that's easily capable of going over like 14,000 feet. Most of these peaks around here are within like 12 and 14,000 feet. So there's that for starters. Now, in a small aircraft like this, obviously we want to stay below 10,000 feet because we don't have oxygen and there is definitely no pressurization whatsoever in this aircraft. So that means we are basically at the mercy of Mother Nature. In particular, the terrain, and you can see how imposing these mountains look on all sides. So basically what we're going to have to do is this. Just like we did when we were going through the Colorado River Gorge, we're going to need to kind of thread the needle. Thankfully, for our dead reckoning here, we do have a nifty little highway directly below us that we can ride all the way into Aspen. Okay, so directly ahead we can see where red table VOR is, and our flight path is actually going to take us over there if we were to continue following it. That ain't gonna fly, let's just put it that way. So right about there is El Hebel, and we are going to be making that right there, and then we're going to pass over Basalt, which is just beyond El Hebel, and we're just going to basically follow the road down. Yeah, we are not going to attempt to go over this mountain. That will end really, really badly for us. But I think we should be able to pull it off, and I don't anticipate any problems. The only thing that may be a factor is the wind coming off of the mountain over by Aspen. But we'll deal with that when we get there. If nothing else, it should be a headwind, so we shouldn't run into any issues there. I did, after all, decide to use a Piper Cub, and it's well known that the Piper Cub can ride the winds. Sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes that's a bad thing, but we're going to make it work in our favor. Incidentally, this is only one of many, many freeware aircraft that are currently available for Aerofly FS2. The link in the video description for this aircraft will also lead you to the site where there's listings of the other freeware aircraft that are available, most by the same person, but some by names that you might know, such as Dino Cataneo. And that's all I'll say about that for now. Speaking of scenery, I'm actually kind of curious to see if Orbx is going to bring their True Earth Great Britain to Aerofly FS2. As I'm sure you're all well aware, it is currently available for X-Plane 11, all three portions of it, north, central, and south. And it is, if my understanding is correct, also available for P3D version 4. If not, it's going to be in the very near future. But I'm almost certain that it's already out. I haven't gotten it for P3D because I'll be honest with you, I don't use P3D often enough anymore to really justify it. But seeing what they've done with the Netherlands, seeing what they've done with Switzerland, and of course what they've done with the various airports here in the United States, I think it's kind of a no-brainer that we can expect at some point in time in the future, Orbx is going to be bringing their True Earth Great Britain here. And I will welcome it with open arms. If they gave it the same amount of love that they have given it in X-Plane, it's going to be pretty awesome indeed. So yeah, I can't wait for that. As for IPACS themselves, like I said, I don't know exactly what they're working on next, but I would definitely like to see some more work done on the northeastern United States in particular. I know they did New York and, you know, portions of New Jersey, some of the more iconic areas in that neck of the woods. But I would personally love to see like Pennsylvania fleshed out, in particular southwestern PA. Of course, I'm going to be biased towards that. It's where I live. I live in Pittsburgh, PA. Let's see. We're going to run out anytime soon. Nope, we are not. Okay, we're doing pretty good there. But yeah, I would absolutely love to see them finish up that particular scenery package. Because remember, that's payware, and really the only thing they've got to show for it right now is New York and New Jersey. So IPACS, if you're watching, if you're listening, I think now would be a great time for you all to go back to that northeastern United States package and start bringing some of the mountains and some of the hills in that neck of the woods into Aerofly FS2 so that we can have scenic flights like that here. Believe it or not, folks, we are just about on initial approach. If you look at our little HSI, you'll see where we kind of cut the corner there, where instead we should have gone to red table VOR, but obviously that's not happening in this Piper Cub. Instead, we're just going to cut through this valley here, past little towns like Snowmass, and I forget the name of the other place. I want to say it's called Woody Creek, perhaps. I don't know, I could be wrong. But yeah, you see that mountain directly ahead? We are going to need to swing out just to the left of that mountain, and then once we go around it, we should actually see the airport, and then we can begin our final approach into Aspen. Thankfully, the weather is cooperating with us today. It's not the typical foggy or rainy or worse, even snowy weather that you can come to expect on pretty much any given day in Colorado. So we might actually be able to pull this off. I should also mention that in the future, one of the other aircraft, the other free aircraft that I would like to show off for you, is going to be this unique little design called the Edgeley Optica. Now, I had one for FSX and prepared, but I really didn't get the opportunity to kind of show it to you all there. But I did notice that there is a model for Aerofly FS2 made by the same creator that created this Piper Cub. To be honest with you, it's not perfect, and I will say that all of the designs, all the creations that I think his name is Krzysk, I don't even remember. I'm not even going to attempt to butcher it anymore. They're all in varying states of completion, but that one I think is the second best, so I want to show it to you soon. Starting to look like we are just about at our ceiling here. Any higher than this and it's going to be IFR weather, so I'm actually going to pull our throttle back just a touch here and begin us on a slow descent. As you can see, our altimeter says we're at about 7,800 feet, so we can probably come down a little bit more. We dare not go below like about 6,000 feet, however, otherwise that's actually going to be lower than the airport that we're landing at. But yeah, I am absolutely in love with this area. I love coming back here. I love flying around. I just think it is one of the most incredible parts of the country. And believe me, this country is filled with lots of incredible areas to fly over. But there is just something about the Rocky Mountains that has like a certain charm for me that I really, really enjoy. All the same though, next episode, we're going to go someplace completely different where I have not yet been. Oh, before I forget, if you're watching this video at the time of release or shortly thereafter, it is less than a month until we are at Flight Sim Expo in Orlando. Yes, I will be there. I will have the purple hat and I will have the purple suit, so you can meet me, you can talk to me, all that good jazz, and you know, we can talk about our favorite areas to fly over and our favorite aircraft to fly in. I do not know 100% if IPACS is going to be there. I know when they had Flight Sim Expo in Vegas last year, technically IPACS wasn't there, as in you really couldn't talk to the devs, but they did have a setup where you could put on a VR headset and actually fly around an Aerofly FS2. I don't know if Orbx was the one that provided that or what. But needless to say, if you do end up going to Flight Sim Expo and you do run into an IPACS Aerofly FS2 setup, make sure you try it. Alright, well, in case you haven't noticed, we are now officially on final to Aspen Airport. So, make sure you strap yourselves in, folks. I should have us down in good time here. Basically, right now, all I'm doing is just adjusting trim as need be. I think our speed is pretty much set where it needs to be for right now until I actually see that we're on glide slope, and then I'll start pulling us back and, of course, chopping the throttle to get us on the runway nice and smooth. Now, I will give you the standard BelGeode disclaimer. I suck when it comes to tail draggers. Even though I do like to practice in them, I still suck when it comes to tail draggers. So I'm not making any guarantees on us landing. You saw how bad the takeoff was, so hopefully I'll try to redeem myself, but yeah, I'm not making any promises to you whatsoever. It does, however, look like we're just about on glide slope, so I'm going to push the nose up a little bit here and start dropping some power. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Aspen Pitkin County Airport. Okay, let's chop that throttle. They say this airport is around 7,800 feet, so let's see just how accurate that is, because we're right about at 7,800 right now. We'll bring her down. There we go. We're on glide slope. I'm going to aim for the little touchdown zone marker. Pull her back. This is a tail dragger, so I need to be nose high. And off with the throttle. Look at that! Not even a bounce. Not even a bounce. Ha! Oh, ye of little faith who doubted me. No, I'm just kidding. Alright, so here we are, folks. Aspen Pitkin Airport. Welcome. Not gonna lie, folks, this airport is on my bucket list. I would love to go here in real life one day. And if you've been following along all the various series that I do on this YouTube channel and, you know, the various characters that I have, you'll know that this airport will also have significance, or I should say the town and the airport also has significance, because this would be where Allie is from. Allie is, according to the story, from Aspen, Colorado. So, we are in her hometown. Although we do not have her with us on this particular episode here. So, oh well. We'll say hi if we run into her at some point in time. In the meantime, sorry, this is where my OCD comes in. I have to get it right on the line. I will not be satisfied until I'm right on the line. And I don't think I am. Nope, I can go up a little bit further. Almost. Bingo, right there. Okay, now, let's see how good of a parking job I did. Let me grab the ye old mouse here. You cannot see the mouse cursor, but you can see the wheels. Look at that. On the money, baby. On the money. I love it. So yeah, not bad for freeware, huh? Let's go ahead and shut everything down so that way I don't have to yell anymore. Alright, just to remind you, I have been in the Piper PA-11 Cub Special by Krzysk and Jetpack. Jetpack is one of the developers at IPACS, and Krzysk is a community member. The link, of course, is going to be in the video description below. We took off from Orbx's Eagle County, and we arrived here in the default IPACS Aspen, which comes with their free Colorado DLC. Alrighty, folks, that'll do it for me. Thanks as always for watching. If you enjoy what you've seen, please feel free to give me a like. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one. Ciao!